Hey guys, welcome back to Landscape Alert, and in this video we are going to be talking about the design aspect for floating steps. Now I was on Instagram because I have one, but I was checking out this page from this other designer, and her name is Tracy McQue. I believe that's how you say it. I might be saying it wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely do so. But I definitely like what she was doing as far as in terms of her designs. So I actually wanted to make a video about it and kind of explain some of the things that you can do, or at least what she's doing there on her designs. And I've done stuff like this, and you could do it in a few different ways, but this time around we're going to talk about specifically man-made stone to get this, to achieve this, which is those floating steps. So let's get started. So the first thing I did is kind of draw the area where we were going to design. And the area is not very big. I kind of meant it to be more like a smaller area for like a tiny home, but it doesn't really matter. The concept regardless will work, and obviously you're going to have to adjust it depending on the height. What we are working with here is 26 feet wide of the property, and from the sidewalk to the entrance of the home itself is 27 feet. So not super big, but what we are focusing here is on the steps themselves. So we have some steps there, and then we have a little pause of area in between steps, and then it continues again with some more steps. Now the elevation difference from the sidewalk to the house is of 7 or so feet. So obviously you're going to have to adjust it depending on the height that you want to achieve or to get to. But a few things that you should have in mind when thinking about this is what you are going to be working. So essentially the material itself. So one of the things that I was looking into this is finding the material that would fit best your needs. Because this is man-made material, there's a good chance that you're going to be finding material that ranges from 4 to 6 feet as far as the length of it. And as far as wide, I think ideally you would want to go somewhere between 16 and maybe max 20 inches. And as far as how thick you want this to be, per minimum 3, but ideally 4 would be just great. Now keep in mind that steps are generally of 7 inches, so you are going to need to have something below the step itself to elevate this little step and give you that floating look. This will accomplish two things. One, the actual floating look that you're going for, and also if you were to want to add lights below it to kind of highlight where you have the steps, it would look so nice. It just looks really good. I am putting pictures of what it will look like, that way you guys can understand what I'm going with this. But depending on the length of the stone itself, you are gonna want to put some blocks below or something below. You can probably put stones, natural stones, but block would be fitting best. You definitely want to make sure that you have a good area to put your step, and then you're going to build on top of that. So generally you are going to start from the bottom and kind of work your way up to where you're going to be stopping. So if you're looking at my drawing here, you'll see that we have a few steps. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the actual space or the pause area. And then on 2 of those sections, we have double steps to give you this nice look. And it's not straight. That's one cool thing about this one, that it's not straight, at least not at the beginning. You can obviously do more on the straight. I kind of did a bit of both. So at the very bottom, you kind of starts on one end, kind of on the left side, and it kind of goes more towards the center. And then at the very top, this kind of stays on the center. It kind of goes more straight after that. So that's a few things that you want to think about that as far as terms of what you are wanting to do. So we have 7 steps. The first section is of 49 inches. And so that's kind of what you were working with. And then again, we have this other little space between the grass, in this case, that I drew here, and the actual entrance of the house. and you are going to need about 5 steps there. Again, it just depends on the elevation that you are working with. Now on this one, copying more of Tracy's ideas was to have more of that natural look, a lot of vegetation. Now one thing that I would recommend is if you're doing this style is having an erosion control matting pretty much all around, at least next to the steps, to kind of keep the soil in place. Now there's a few things that you can put there to propagate the root system of some type, be it native grass seed of some type or maybe even something else. So there's a few things that you could potentially do. So one of those would be, as I mentioned, a seed of some type, and it's gonna depend where you live, the part of the world and or the country, at least in the US. There are definitely some options that you can go with. At the same time, you can also put shrubbery that would also help you have that root system so the ground doesn't move. You don't want to have a mess. You want it to look nice and clean. And yes, you are going to have some of this natural vegetation growing, but you still want it to look super cool. You can always add some boulders, and that's going to be up to you, the size of them. You definitely don't want to make them too big or install too big of boulders. Potentially something that may be in the area of maybe 300 to 600 pounds. It can be bigger. It's going to be up to you, and the way you place them will also play a role as to where you would be putting your shrubs. So on some of these areas, I put some shrubs and also put some ornamental grasses just to kind of make the area look even nicer. You could put some type of evergreens if you want to. In the picture, you have something like a pines, maybe like something like a mugo pine that would stay green all around as far as the whole year. So that would be really cool to see. You can also do some type of broad ever leaves. Of course, there are many options for that, but this is what would get you to have this as far as the look, which is really nice. It just elevates this, and the idea here, at least in the drawing, is that you may have maybe like a tiny home or a small-ish home, if you will, but you want to make that front just stand out. Just will look so nice. And if you add that light side, it just elevates you even more. But I just hope that this ideas help you if you are thinking of redesigning, remodeling your front yard or backyard. This would also work if, say, you're not worried too much about the entrance of your house, but somewhere else and you have a bit of a hill and you want to have, like, say, a patio, like a detached patio. You can do the same methods. You may not want to have that sort of resting space. In this case, I put it to be grass, and that area is only 6 feet by 23, so it's not very big, but it's big enough to kind of break it up a bit. Have a little space where you're gonna have the actual turf just to kind of walk around, and the rest is gonna be maybe more natural. But it looks good. It adds to this, and I think overall it's a great idea to make a area like this just stand out some more. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I didn't necessarily think too much about the shrubs because I wasn't thinking about that. It was more of the design of the steps and how you can install them. You'll see how I draw on the sides. I'm sketching kind of the ideas behind this, approximate numbers. And one of the reasons why I was saying that the steps should be around 16 to 20 inches is because generally you want to have about 12 inches for you to step on, like your actual foot, and maybe you want a few more inches because that's going to go below that little gap in between that step that you're on and the next one to give you that floating space. So that is the idea. I hope that this helps you in your future project. Let me know, put your comments below, let me know your thoughts, and if you want me to work on other things, also give me some recommendations. And please don't forget to give love to Tracy McQue over on Instagram, and also is over at Landscape Alert. That's me, myself. And of course, don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It definitely helps to get this video out there for more people, especially if there's somebody else that's thinking of remodeling their house, or they have a new house and they're thinking of wanting some ideas to make it look great. Anyways, guys, that's it. Don't forget the model here, which is Dream Design Create, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one.